Making headlines tonight, Prime Minister Mia Mottley returns from a multi-country visit and reports on a number of significant agreements. Barbados to roll out a national biodiversity strategy and action plan 2020. The acting Attorney General has a word of caution for new attorneys admitted to the bar. And coming up in sports, Windies batters getting ready for a test of Aussie pitches.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Prime Minister Mia Mottley has tonight been expressing concern about the use of high-powered assault weapons. She was speaking to members of the media moments ago at the Grantley Adams International Airport after returning from a trip to the COP27 conference in Egypt and visiting a number of other African countries. Prime Minister Mottley told reporters Police Commissioner Richard Boyce, who was on holiday, is now back on the job amid heightened concerns about the crime situation in the country. She says while she believes the police need to be given space and capacity to do their jobs at the same time, Barbadians need to work with them.
We were the most shocked people when we came to office to find the state of lack of security at the ports that we found. I've made and said enough, including 2 Saturdays ago, that I have not yet seen guns that are biodegradable. And therefore, once they come in, they're going to be there rusty or good or well-oiled or functioning or not. And the reality is that what we are now reaping is what we've sown over a period of time. Now, it's not Barbados alone, and let's get context too. You have a United States of America that has gone crazy. And we have to get a hemispheric approach to ban assault weapons, because the truth is, it is the automatic weapons that create even greater fear more than anything else, because a one shot is a one shot. But when a man can let go in seconds, that is what is causing the problem. And the reality is that throughout every Caribbean country, throughout every Central and Latin American country, but above all else, worse than that, in the United States of America that is responsible for the manufacturing, this is what we're facing. So we can't solve the problem only by dealing with it, but we must deal with that. And that is why even the truth verification at the ports, I'm deeply upset that it's taken as long as it has to do it. I've spoken internally about it. Everybody who works in a sensitive position has to make up their mind that they have to be subject to different types of rules and conditions than those who don't work in those sensitive positions. That's what it is. That, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Prime Minister Mottley also spoke about climate financing, which she says cannot be done on 7-year funding. She said Barbados is the only country which has negotiated the level of grant funding that we have. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has cleared the air on the expenditure by government for the recent travels of the Prime Minister, himself and the delegations. Kerry Simmons made this his first priority before he unpacked the high points of his trip to Rwanda. He made it clear that the Rwandan government and other funding agencies greatly assisted with the costs involved.
Addressing a couple of the mischiefs that have been put out there, because the Prime Minister did not speak to them, but I think it is very important that we do. First of all, the question, and obviously one follows these things from overseas, the question of the cost of travel and associated with travel and the size of delegation, etc., is a very important issue that we have to address head on. First of all, let me make it abundantly clear that the delegation that went to Egypt, in fact, before we go to Egypt, let me start with England, where, as Prime Minister indicated, we would have had a night at the World Travel Market at the very start of World Travel Market. Why is that important? Prime Minister and myself attended, the two of us alone, because of the fact that there's a new tourism minister who had to be introduced to stakeholders. Barbados' tourism, as you will have heard me say repeatedly, represents approximately 45% of this country's GDP prior to COVID, and it is necessary for us to take stakeholders into our confidence, rebuild an understanding between ourselves and them so that they are perfectly clear that we are reopened for business and are on the same track in terms of interest in investment and expansion of the tourism product as they are. And therefore, building that bridge and creating a new relationship between ourselves and Minister Gooden-Edgell was vitally important. We left there and went to Egypt. I want to say that the Egyptian delegation obviously was larger than just the Prime Minister and myself, but it was also paid for by the Inter-American Development Bank and the UN Foundation for Climate Change.
The findings of a public opinion survey on crime will be released in less than 24 hours. The details will be revealed tomorrow morning during a webinar hosted by the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit as part of its Crime Awareness Month of activities. Criminologist and senior researcher with the Planning Unit, Kim Ramsey, told CBC News what can be expected in the survey results.
The public opinion survey gives the criminal justice officials a general idea of the views of the public, and these views are important in helping us to shape policy and develop programs. Tomorrow we're going to, coming out of the survey, we're going to look at issues like the fear of crime, the views on the death penalty, the measures that the public take to protect themselves from crime, their views on the crime fight, how they measure the work of the police and other criminal justice professionals, and more importantly, we're going to be looking at the recommendations on how to fight crime coming from both the public and as well as the recommendations from the Criminal Justice Department.
Barbados has temporarily banned poultry imports from the United Kingdom. The action, according to Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Mark Trotman, is due to confirmed outbreaks of the highly pathogenic avian influenza virus, commonly referred to as bird flu. Though there have been no human cases of the outbreak, he says the virus has the potential to infect humans. According to him, as with most diseases that are not present in this area, the best protection is strengthening quarantine measures. Dr. Trotman adds the restrictions do not apply to commercial imports of processed poultry products accompanied by an official veterinary export health certificate that state the products have been processed to ensure the destruction of the virus. Coming up, a Barbadian artist gets a Grammy nomination. There's concern about Barbadians cutting trees to use as lumber. The issue has been raised by Environment Minister Adrian Ford, who's appealing to people to stop the practice. One of the sites he's identified is Poolwoods in St. John.
I went in St. John by Poolwoods the other day, and it was in burst. And I'm telling the Barbadians, cut it out. Mahogany trees that are 300 years old were destroyed, not by a natural disaster, by mankind, by our behavior. Indiscriminately logging, trees were felled. And the destruction of a mahogany tree, the destruction of 300 years of hard ecological work.
Mr. Ford led off a resolution in the lower house on the Barbados National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan 2020, which he says will soon be rolled out. According to him, the implementation of the 12-point plan, which seeks to preserve local flora and fauna, is being funded by a 6-figure grant from the Global Environment Facility.
Treasury and the people of Barbados, the taxpayers, don't have to look for $440,000 to build a plan, to be able to preserve our ecological systems, and enhance our country and our nation and our people. Jeff has decided to do it for us. And that is why the Prime Minister is the figure that she is, leading the world and leading the Caribbean.
Barbadian recording artist Amanda Reefer is now a Grammy-nominated artist. The 31-year-old songstress and composer's name appeared on the list of Grammy nominees released today. Reefer, the former lead singer of popular Barbadian band Cover Drive, was featured on Kendrick Lamar's song Die Hard, which was released back in August. The song, which has been nominated for Best Melodic Rap Performance, was the third single from Lamar's 5th studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It peaked at number 5 on Billboard's Top 100 charts and has been nominated in the category alongside Beautiful by DJ Khaled, Wait For You by Future, Jack Harlow's First Class, and Big Energy by Latto. Teachers of the Belmont Primary School met with the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training this morning to discuss security matters regarding the school. Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw told CBC News her ministry jumped into action to begin to address issues raised by the teachers.
You may recall that last Friday night, the outer gate at the school was damaged due to a reported shooting incident in the area. I am pleased to state that the gate has been fixed and that the debris has been removed. The meeting this morning was a productive one. The Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training and teachers were able to discuss the teachers' concerns relative to their safety, and plans have been collaboratively developed to address them.
Acting Attorney General Wilfred Abrams is encouraging 46 new attorneys admitted to the bar not to yield to temptations which may come with the profession. He was addressing the group at the Supreme Court.
You actually do need to understand the realities of what we face, or what law is about, or what the practice of law is about. Honesty, integrity, reputation. You can take those three words, you can plant those words in your mind. And anytime you come to a difficult crossroad, honesty, integrity, reputation. And if you bear those three things in mind, you cannot go wrong. You cannot possibly go wrong. You'll be told, don't spend your client's money, it's not yours. You'll be told, be diligent, be honest. You'll be told, be decent in your meetings with other lawyers. You may or may not be told, be decent in your meetings with the registry and the person that you come into contact with.
Sports time now, and we head over to the sports studio and say a very good evening to Anne-Marie Burke.
Good evening to you, Shane, and to you viewers. It was a decent showing from Team Barbados at the recently concluded 13th ISSF Shooting Cat Championships in Lima, Peru, as they returned home with 2 medals, a gold and bronze, and quarter places for next year's Pan American Games in Santiago, Chile. The golden moment came for Barbados in the junior men's trap competition when Aiden Johnson, senior shooting, ended with a total of 108 points to conquer a field of 7. Actually, his teammate Josh Jones was also among the hardware as he amassed 92 points for the bronze medal. The silver was won by Argentina's Ruiz Martin with 106 points. Team Barbados was able to also clinch some coveted quarter places for the 2023 Pan American Games, as despite missing out in medal places, Justin St. John and Richard Greenidge won quarter spots in the men's trap team competition, while Misha Elliott in the women's skeet and Michael Masker in the men's skeet also got quarter places. The Pan American Games are scheduled for October 20th to November 5th, 2023. Well, after months of being vacant, the Barbados Football Association has filled the position of head coach of the men's senior national football team. There's a new man at the helm of the men's national senior football team. Orlando Da Costa is the new head coach, as announced by the BFA in a press conference at their headquarters in Wilde. Da Costa, who is a 25-year-old veteran in coaching in his homeland Portugal and across Europe, also holds a bachelor's degree in sports and physical education with a master's degree in sports psychology. When asked what he will bring to the job, Da Costa says it's pinned on 4 principles: playing with heart, good etiquette, good organization, and passion.
At the same time, I can say that we are here with our soul, our heart, to increase a newer mentality, winning mentality, to increase the football, to try to create a game model philosophy based in our ideas. It is very important in the future for our players to believe in ourselves, believe that they can win anywhere, but to play and winning anywhere against any opponent team, we must play at top level, we must play as a brave, we must play with winning mentality, we must play with a good game model, we must play as a team.
He'll be joined by fellow Portuguese national Ricardo Fernandes as the new assistant coach, as Barbadian-born and former UK-based player Emerson Boyce remains as the technical director. The Costa and Fernandes' first official games in charge will be in the CONCACAF Nations League in March of next year. With over 300 applicants from around the world bidding for the coaching position, BFA President Randy Harris said it was a tedious process that was guided by what they set as ideals for the national team.
We were very methodical. We took our time and searched for coaches who have a history of development, working with people who play football at our quality and above, and have made a big difference after they have left. In these coaches from Portugal, we think we hit the right spot in getting the right quality of coach that we need in Barbados at this time.
The new coaches will be on an initial one-year contract with a possible extension based on a performance review.
Local grown company Harris Paints has been able to achieve a global first in the paint industry as the company celebrates its 50th anniversary. It's come with the launch of their new Quantum 112 technology, a key part of the company's new local and regional Strokes of Genius campaign. According to Harris Paints International's Chief Executive Officer Ian Kenyon, Quantum 112 I-12 is also being rolled out at a time when the company is expanding its market share and overall presence in the region, while also seeing significantly higher demand for its products. He has also revealed, thanks to its consistent innovation over the years, the company has now managed to open a doorway to a potentially new global market in Armenia.
Since our humble beginnings here in Barbados, Harris has grown by leaps and bounds. After the success of the Barbados launch in 1972, we launched manufacturing centres into Dominica and St. Lucia, and since then have grown organically and via acquisition when we acquired BH Paints in Jamaica. And most recently of all, we opened a new state-of-the-art plant in Antigua. And I'm very proud to say, not only do we employ 80 people in Barbados, but over 250 people across the region. Going to market through key partners such as leading retailers and dealers and export agents, as well as through our own specialist retail stores, Harris Paints and the Little Man have become household names in over 15 countries and are now the market leader in 9 of them.
Meanwhile, the man largely responsible for the company being able to acquire a patent for its new Quantum I-12 paint technology is Vice President of Technical Services and Innovation, Charles Curtin, who has been with Harris Paints for 39 years. He sought to put in layman's terms exactly what makes Quantum a first in the global paint market.
Quantum technology will better match the selected color chip and can actually require less coats in some cases. This new system, which uses customized state-of-the-art dispensing machines, is also better at repeating colors and limiting can-to-can inconsistencies. Thereby, it also produces less mistakes, but also it produces paint that is best in class at producing colors that are cleaner and brighter than ever before.
Trade and trade-related issues as they relate to Barbados being included on grey and black tax-related lists were among major areas discussed at a recent joint parliamentary assembly in Maputo, Mozambique. Barbados's representative, St. James North MP Edmund Hinkson, explains the island is part of the Organization of African, Caribbean, Pacific States, and the assembly generally meets about twice a year to address major global issues. He says as part of the assembly, he co-rapporteured a session on the issue of uncooperative tax jurisdictions and money laundering and anti-terrorism financing. Mr. Hinkson notes Barbados is now being placed on these lists by the EU and the OECD in circumstances where the vast majority of money laundering is actually occurring in European and North American countries.
Especially over the last 15-odd years, we have been hindered by being placed on grey list, on black list, on being written up, on suffering reputational damage, being perceived as tax evaders and places where criminals can hide their money, and this is not so.
All right, time to head back on over to the sports studio for the second half with Anne-Marie.
And I have some cricket news as West Indies Test captain Craig Brathwaite says with his team scheduled to play a warm-up game starting tomorrow night Barbados time, the batsmen are already acclimatizing to the conditions and should enjoy batting on the Australian pitches. Brathwaite was speaking ahead of the opening fixture in Canberra on the current tour of Australia.
But the guys enjoying it. You know, to be honest, you know, these pitches are always good to bat on because, you know, guys could play through the line and stuff. So, you know, the guys, you know, really looking forward to the test series and batting on the pitches because I just say, you know, it's bouncy, but, you know, it allows guys, you know, to play through the line. So, obviously, you know, you got discipline mixing, you know, with spending time and obviously aggressive shots in between. I think the guys really looking forward to, you know, to playing on these, you know, good pitches.
That's our news. Good night and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.